Hello, and welcome to the Center for Elder Law and Justice presentation on the Senior Financial Safety Tool Scam Training. My name is Erin Riker, and I'm the Technology-Based Legal Services Attorney here at the Center for Elder Law and Justice.
And my name is Melissa Woods. I am the Project Coordinator for the Senior Financial Safety Tool.
The Senior Financial Safety Tool project is supported through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Office for Victims of Crime Award 2018 V3GX K024. The opinions, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this project are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official position or policies of the U.S. Department of Justice. Let's get into what we're going to cover today. First, we'll go through some background on scams generally. Then we will go through some COVID-19 related scams specifically that have been popping up. We will talk a little about recovery and how to report scams. And then we'll go into some additional local and federal resources that you can use for recovery and reporting of scams. Let's start by who's affected by scams. The answer is everyone. Scams impact people of all ages. Phone, email, and mail solicitations are common, but text message scams are becoming more common. Even though scams affect all people of all ages, older adults are disproportionately impacted. This is for several reasons. Older adults have either a perceived or an actual access to resources. A lot of older adults are into their retirement accounts, which may have a lot of money in them, and so they may be able to access, 6 figures, 7 figures relatively quickly. Or even if older adults don't have this kind of money, scammers think that they do. So they target them hoping to hit on someone who has a well-funded IRA or a 401k that they can draw from. Availability is another reason why older adults are disproportionately affected. Older adults are more likely to be retired. They're more likely to be home during the day. They're more likely to answer the phone. If you've ever had someone under the age of 25 who you tried to get on a phone call, it's nearly impossible. But if you call older people, they're more likely to pick up. There are other individual factors that disproportionately affect older adults, such as illness, isolation, and cognitive decline. Older adults are more likely to have suffered illness or medical conditions, which make them less likely to leave their house, which then feeds back into that availability and also into the isolation. Older adults might be less involved with their community. They might see their friends or family members less often. And the more someone is isolated, the more they might just want someone to talk to. And when they pick up the phone, and it might be someone who's trying to scam them, but to the adult who's on the other end of the line, that's someone that they can talk to when they maybe haven't talked to a real human in a couple of days or longer. Cognitive decline is also an issue. There are plenty of older adults who are generally able to manage their finances, manage their activities of daily living. However, they might be in the beginning stages of cognitive decline. They might be in beginning stages of Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, or they might just be having senior moments. They might not remember that this person had called them last week and tried to get money out of them. They might not have remembered that they didn't actually apply for that lottery or that sweepstakes that this person is calling to say they won. Or they might just be on the beginning stages of cognitive decline, so they may not recognize as quickly the signs that someone is trying to scam them. Let's go through some scam techniques. One of the most common techniques is frequent contact by phone, email, or mail. If a scammer hits on someone who responds, they will call them possibly several times a day. They will email frequently. They'll mail frequently. If you have a senior who's getting a lot of just junk mail, they are on someone's mailing list and they are much more likely to be the victim or the target of a scam. Scammers use this frequent contact to build a relationship with their victim so that their victim begins to trust them, so that then the scammer can extort money from them and the victim is less likely to then see it as a scam. If someone picks up the phone and the person on the other end of the line for the first time says, send me $1 million, obviously they're not going to do it. But if they've been talking to someone for a couple of days, if this person has said, I'm from Publishers Clearinghouse and you won our sweepstakes and I'm going to call you back with more information, or you've won this lottery, let me take down your address so I can send you a brand new car, things like that, they are going to be more receptive to being victims of that scam. Scammers know this, and that's why they use this frequent contact to build these relationships. Requests for personal and financial information, like we talked about. The scammers will try and develop relationships with the victims, and that's when the requests for personal and financial information might come from. Sometimes it might be as simple as requesting someone's address or someone's social security number, and they might say, oh, we just need to verify that you are who we think you are. There might be requests for financial information. They might say, we need to wire transfer you this money. Can I have your bank account number? Or can I have the institution at which you bank? Scammers want to get this information, and they're patient enough to get it in smaller doses so that they can add up over time and be more likely to get a lot of money out of these people who respond to scams. Requests to wire funds, send gift cards, or use cash transfer apps are also red flags. If someone is a legitimate charity, if someone is selling a legitimate product or service, they're going to accept your credit card as payment. If someone is trying to scam you, they may request the funds only in the form of a wire transfer. If someone's trying to sell you 1,095 masks and they say, pay me in the form of Amazon gift cards or Green Dot Money Pack cards, that's probably a scam. And if someone says, oh, I only accept PayPal or Venmo, that's not a legitimate business, because legitimate businesses are actually less likely to use cash transfer apps than they are to accept normal forms of payment. Scammers will emphasize secrecy. In the case of lottery or sweepstakes scams, they'll say, you know, don't tell anyone you won because we're going to do this big TV announcement. With reality TV being the way it is, and people who are contestants on these shows being sworn to secrecy until the big reveal is on national television, this lends the secrecy that the scammers require some more legitimacy. Older adults might think that they are actually going to be the winners of this contest and it's going to be revealed on national television, but they can't tell anyone or else they'll ruin the surprise. Scammers may also try to threaten or display a sense of urgency. If a scammer is working with a particular victim and the victim then shows some hesitancy, or the victim runs out of money to give them, or the victim otherwise just doesn't want to play along anymore, then the scammer will escalate their behavior. They can use Google Earth to look at someone's house and say, you're living in the blue house with the SUV in the driveway. I'm going to come hurt you if you don't send me more money. The caller or the scammer is not actually standing in front of their house, but they can make it seem like they are. They may also display a sense of urgency, even if they're not threatening, in order to get more money from their victim. They may say that if you don't send $100 right now, you'll lose out on this $400 prize, or I'm trapped in a war-torn country and I need to get $1 million out by Friday, so will you send me your bank account information so that I can deposit it into there? The sense of urgency is something that's also used by high-pressure salespeople, but again, there are ways to tell scammers from salespeople, in that salespeople will accept more legitimate forms of payment, and salespeople will not necessarily display some of these other scam techniques that we've been discussing. Scammers will also take advantage of increased anxiety and depression and social isolation that is prevalent in this pandemic. What's the first thing that we were told when COVID became a serious threat in the US? Don't infect your elderly neighbors or friends or relatives. Don't go visit grandma. But that also means that grandma gets fewer visits. Grandma might not be getting as many phone calls either. If someone's in an assisted living facility or a nursing home, they might need staffers to help them with phone calls who are busy right now taking care of the increased medical load. So social isolation, which was already a problem for seniors, is becoming more and more prevalent. They may not be able to have conversations with their Meals on Wheels delivery people, where normally the delivery people would come into their house and just have a little chat with them to see how their day is going. They aren't allowed to have conversations with their congregate meal partners at congregate dining sites because these have all been closed. They are isolated in their homes or in their facilities, their medical facilities, more so now than ever. And that makes them targets for these scams because, like we've said, they're lonely. They want someone to talk to. Even without social isolation, the anxiety and the depression that's caused by the pandemic can make someone just want to reach out for any sort of human connection. They want any sort of life raft that is a person they can talk to. Maybe someone's not socially isolated, but they're just worried that they'll get sick, because people who get COVID who are older adults are much more likely to have serious complications or pass away. Especially in the earlier days of the pandemic, people were not allowed to have visitors in the hospital. So there were stories about people passing away whose family couldn't be there. They were essentially dying alone on a ventilator. The prospect of that happening to older adults will scare the daylights out of them. And that will cause anxiety, that will cause depression, that will make them prime targets for scammers who are going to be the ones calling them initially just wanting to talk. All right, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Melissa Woods, to do a roundup of some COVID-19 specific scams that we've been seeing recently.
So, as Erin mentioned, because of COVID-19, there have been new scams that have been popping up. I'm going to go through the different types of scams, and the first one I'm going to cover is scams that involve financial insecurity. People are concerned about their money. Maybe they're concerned about the continuation of their benefits, or if there will be Social Security, if they will continue to receive unemployment. So right now, scammers are offering folks quick cash and or debt relief. Scammers are reaching out to people and offering loans, or offering to advance pay for additional stimulus funds, or to advise that they can help with continued unemployment benefits. Scammers are sophisticated, and they're preying upon individuals who stand to lose a substantial amount of income if they do not have access to their Social Security or unemployment benefits. These are people who are living paycheck to paycheck to make ends meet, and scammers know that, and presenting them with either get quick cash right away or any kind of debt relief. People who are concerned that they may not be able to pay their bills the next month or pay for their medication or their food are more likely to respond to those types of scams. We've also seen an increase in person in need scams. This means that somebody may have established a GoFundMe account or another account to ask for assistance with bills, whether they're legitimate or not, and they're tugging at someone's heartstrings. And people are reaching out and sending money because they feel bad. Maybe they don't have a lot either, but they want to give someone something, and that's been happening quite frequently. And Social Security scams. People are worried about continued benefits. People are worried that Social Security is not going to continue, and people are also worried that their benefits may decrease. So with that, scammers are contacting folks and preying upon that and getting their financial information by saying, in order to continue your benefits, you need to give me your Social Security number. You need to give me all this information, and I will make sure that you continue to receive those monies. We'll talk a little bit later about government impersonators, but that would never happen. So scammers are really relying on the unrest that everybody feels during this time. We have also seen an increase in the actual healthcare scam. Scammers know that we are all afraid of the unknown with this virus, and they will manipulate that fear by offering cures, testing that is not FDA approved and have no impact on the virus. We have seen people who have paid for vaccines or cures, and obviously the test kit offers. Scammers are contacting people and letting them know that they may be able to get an air filter system that might protect them against the virus. We've asked that our clients and anyone who is contacted about this information, really talk to their healthcare provider with any questions they have about COVID-19. These scammers are calling to get those solicitations on the phone and keep people on the phone talking about this and prey upon that fear. Obviously, testing is limited, but expanding every day. There are websites and resources available to anyone. We'll provide our contact information at the end of this presentation, but people should not be soliciting over the phone for those types of services. Right now, we know that there is no vaccine or cure, and it affects people differently. So any treatment should be prescribed by a doctor. We've also seen some increases in Medicare-related scams, and it's very similar to the Social Security scams, where scammers are offering COVID tests or other services to Medicare beneficiaries in exchange for personal details, including their Medicare information. These services are unimproved, they're illegitimate, and they are just trying to obtain somebody's personal information. Again, preying upon somebody who is concerned about their health. The government impersonation scams have increased during this time as well. We've touched a little bit on Social Security and Medicare, but also with economic impact payments and stimulus checks. We tell our clients regularly, we do not need to respond to texts or calls from individuals claiming to be from either the IRS, Social Security, or the government. They will not text, email, or call you. Contact tracers that need health information, not money or personal financial information, may contact you, but just say no to anyone claiming to be from a government agency asking for cash, gift cards, any wire transfers, or any personal or financial information. Encourage your customers, and other people in the community to visit those government websites directly. Don't click on links in your email. And those numbers are widely published. Provide that information to your customers. Let them know that they can call those agencies directly. They may sit on hold for quite a bit of time, but they will not be called directly. As with any issue, we always see these charity scams. So please be wary of anyone discussing a GoFundMe campaign. We've included some information here for Charity Navigator. They have information for highly rated charities helping to combat this crisis. Advise your customers, advise your friends and family to never pay by cash, gift card, or money transfer to someone that they do not know or haven't met. If you want to give to a charity, if you want to donate money to help people who are experiencing difficulties, visit that organization's website directly. Be wary of any charity that directly calls and asks for donations. Unless you do work with them regularly and schedule a follow-up call, they're not going to be reaching out to you. Again, advise your customers to just do a little bit of due diligence, to keep their money and their information protected. One thing that we've seen is a new trend, as a new trend alert, is cash transfer apps. Cash transfer apps, for example, like Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, are convenient ways to transfer money between unknown parties without having to exchange cash and without having to meet someone in person. Again, people are less likely to want to pay somebody with cash or handle cash during this time. Scammers know this, and they're using these apps to solicit money directly and also via the contest that Erin discussed. One popular contest right now is a scammer is asking an individual to send $25 and then they do receive money back. They will receive $250 back using one of these applications. You know, it's a small ask. Then they ask them to send an increased amount, and those monies are lost. One thing to know about these cash transfer apps is that once you send that, the money is difficult, if not impossible, to trace. You will not get it back. Worse, if because of using these apps, a scammer gets your account information, they can transfer your bank funds to themselves. So please make sure that anyone who's coming in and asking you for any assistance with any of these apps, that you are, we encourage everyone to tell your customers, again, friends and family, do not send money or share your account information with anyone that you do not know personally. So what can you do? Somebody is coming to you and they're indicating that any of these scams may have happened to them. Obviously, know your customers. Understand that isolation during the pandemic has increased financial concerns for older adults. People are concerned about their physical safety, their health, and their financial security as well. Always be on the lookout for unusual spending patterns or abnormal activity, such as these cash apps or people who are suddenly asking to make wire transfers or withdraw large sums of cash. Understand these warning signs and warning signs from our previous trainings and use the Senior Financial Safety Tool. We are adding information to the Senior Financial Safety Tool to screen customers for some of these COVID scams before it's too late. The link is here. Please feel free to take the SFST for a test run. This is a great way to protect the income and the wallets of your customers and people in the community. We'd like to thank you for listening to the training today, and know that if you ever have any questions or concerns, we will be sending our contact information out with all of our training materials. My name is Melissa Woods. Again, I'm a project coordinator for the Senior Financial Safety Tool, and I do work at the Center for Elder Law and Justice. If you do need to reach me at any time, the direct number for our agency is 716-853-3087.